Lara Croft GO. Now this is an exciting game right here because we have some serious Lara Croft fans on the couch. I'm joined, of course, by Anna, and you guys are going to have to tell us all about this game because this features probably our favorite part about Lara Croft. I mean, there's combat, and there's all kinds of stuff that we're familiar with her, but Anna, you love the puzzles. This is all puzzles. How did you guys talk to me a little bit about how you decided to develop this game?
Yeah, so first thing first, Square Enix Montreal, we're the smallest studio of the Square Enix group. We're based out of Montreal, obviously, and we focus on mobile. We focus on taking these cool IPs that we have in the group and find the cleverest way to bring them to the mobile ecosystem. We started with Hitman last year. We released Hitman Go, which was obviously a pretty decent success. We released Hitman Sniper 2 weeks ago, actually. So a completely different take on the same brand, but a great approach made for mobile. And now we've announced Lara Croft GO during the conference yesterday, actually. Yeah.
Coming soon to phone and tablet. I cannot wait because this is really the mobilization of games has been fantastic. I have so many games that I wish I could play when I'm sitting on the train, sitting in the airport, doing all that boring stuff, and now you're putting it right in our hands, and it looks beautiful, I have to say.
Thank you.
And it's so cool to see a character that we know and love, that we've seen on so many different platforms, now kind of in the palm of our hand. And what's she going to be doing in the palm of our hand?
Yeah, sure. So actually, this is a live demo. So we have our
cool.
brand manager, Genevieve, who's playing behind the scenes there. So as you can see, it's kind of built off this very simple premise that you can see these dots and lines on this kind of spots. So actually, we're building this kind of turn-based gameplay around it.
Oh, cool.
So all you do is you just swipe your finger in one of the directions that you want Lara to move. And obviously, the first level that you've seen here, this jungle going into a cave, is very linear. It's very simple. It's just to kind of ease you in a little bit on how the game works. So in this case, it's actually just get to the exit there. Kind of as you see, Lara kind of exits the level there. Here you have a little bit of a kind of a map, kind of showing you where you progress and what the story of the game is. And here, as you can see here, it gets more interesting because we have these kind of more interesting puzzle mechanics. You can see this gap there, and as we climb up to this switch, we can activate the switch, which obviously a classic from Lara Croft and Tomb Raider games, these kind of mechanisms and kind of ancient things going there on. So obviously this is the first kind of time we introduced the switch, but we can already make a little puzzle with it. We have different colored switches, so the orange switch moves the orange platform, then the green switch does the same thing to the green, and you can see we can start building gameplay, building puzzles around that fairly quickly. But the cool thing is that on top of this kind of simple gameplay premise, we start building environments. As you can see there in the background, we realize that actually something is moving. We don't really know what it is, but as we go through this kind of distilled, condensed little puzzle game that we're building, we also have like a huge story and kind of a big adventure around it. And as you can see, now we finished this kind of puzzle. But in the background, we see that we've also awakened some sort of a huge creature there that will follow us through the level. So it's kind of this blend between a nice distilled puzzle game and kind of this big sense of adventure that we're going for.
Now, you said the input is swiping here. You're swiping dot to dot, picking the direction. But we saw some complicated things. Laura flipped the switch. She is moving around a little bit. What are the other inputs, or is that all swiping?
It's all just swiping and tapping on certain things to kind of interact with objects. So it's really, here you can see another cool mechanic. Since this is a turn-based game, these kind of cracked floors you can step on once, but since kind of messed up there, if you go in it again, you fall through. So it's the kind of, our meat and potatoes of this game is kind of these mechanics that allow us to kind of build cool puzzles. And obviously now going to the left, will allow us to kind of just finish this puzzle here. It's a similar kind of situation, again with a switch. We've cracked this wall once, which will make us fall down if we, and now obviously we can't go back anymore, so we did that in the correct way. And obviously this still being level 3, I think, so it's still fairly straightforward and easy, but you can see just with like these 2-3 little mechanics that we have at this point, we can already start making cool, interesting puzzles.
Well, we definitely have the small, each level and each little puzzle being solved, but there's usually an overarching story of some kind with Lara. Why does she find herself here in this environment this time?
So the kind of the approach that we're going for with this game is a very kind of ambient and non-verbal kind of way of telling stories. So there's no cutscenes and dialogues. There's no kind of, you know, as you would expect maybe from a more traditional console game. We're trying to, as shown, we're trying to tell all of that story within the environment, within the story, and actually at the end of this level you'll see something that was also in the trailer there, again revealing this kind of creature that you're coming up against, and so we're really trying to show and kind of induce a little bit of that environment throughout just the story, throughout just the environment. And as you can see here, we kind of story from the trailer.
Oh, we've upset somebody.
Exactly. And actually maybe just to show this one as well, to build up on the story kind of thing, here we come across a cool kind of little moment where we find the key. It's called the Key of Snakes.
Ooh.
Exotic.
And so there's this kind of this also, like here, I guess more of kind of a story or narrative and structure in the actual levels in there. So we're not taking control away. And just to kind of the overarching thing, spoiler alert, this is what we're here for. Not going to go into details, but this being locked off by this big gate, we just found one of the keys there, opens up one of the 3 locks. Obviously, as you can see, we're still missing 2 more keys. So the goal of our, I guess our next kind of goal is to find these 2 more keys to then come back and then exit through that. And maybe as a last level we can show here, we're entering this kind of big segment of the game where there's 3 mazes, this one being called the Maze of Snakes, which are like the big parts of our game, and you can see these all little creatures there. So here we're entering this kind of new environment, which is this lush kind of swamp jungle environment, and we have our first enemy, which are these snakes that I can just take out by swiping, by moving on their spot, so to speak. And also combined with the vertical movement, Lara does a lot of these kind of cool acrobatic things. And here we have a little puzzle, as in the 2 snakes are, I have to choose a path basically, but since this snake is facing me, I can't go in front of it. So it's basically built on that turn-based nature of the game design.
So in terms of combat, it's all about approach as opposed to movement?
Exactly, yeah.
Cool.
So it's not about it's not about precision or being, there's no sort of like real-time shooting or anything involved. This again is really, combat is a puzzle mechanic for us as well. Here it's introduced being very simple and easy to understand. You can see we add a lot of these kind of, there's a dead end there, but you can see a little bit of the environment, a broken bridge there. You can go obviously not further than that, but if you go through that little door there, you come out on the other end, and now you'll see how we can combine these mechanics. There's a lot of snakes here. Some of them we can take out easily because they're not facing our way. And the hope Geneviève knows how to finish this puzzle. This is live.
So I guess every time you're playing this, you're learning from experience. Like we saw with that hole in the floor, these snakes, you're going to screw up a couple times before you figure it out.
Yeah.
But you learn the patterns, you learn the mechanics, and we're going one mechanic after the other. We start combining, so you learn these along the way.
Absolutely.
Also, obviously, as you see, again, something we focus on in Montreal is high-end projects dedicated to mobile audiences. This is not a port. This is made specifically for mobile. And we found a great spot. We feel, in a sense, that we feel there's so much demand for premium games, high-end experiences on mobile. And this is what we're going to be focusing on in Montreal.
I think this is a beautiful way to take, it's a great homage to the Lara Croft franchise and to her history. I mean, this dovetails nicely. It's not, you're not reaching out here. This is not like a dressmaking game or like suddenly a race car game. This is a beautiful incarnation of the Lara Croft brand.
Thank you.
And you mentioned that it looks really beautiful. The art style is really cool. It's kind of a, you definitely recognize Lara very well, but it's also an environment that is very natively Lara Croft GO to me. Like I don't think I would see this as another game. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Was that something you were aiming for, a very like particular art style?
So I think that the interesting thing for us is with the previous game that we made called Hitman GO, which was kind of the first iteration on this kind of GO concept. the translation of the Hitman brand to tablets, we actually did that by turning Hitman into kind of a digital board game. So you have these little kind of board set pieces. And we did that because we felt that was a great kind of homage, kind of the art style to the big game. And I think with this one as well, we're really trying to go for something that, well, we got a low battery warning. Something for an art style that really, you know, also kind of goes back to the roots of Lara Croft. I mean, the first game came out almost 20 years ago, and what's really fascinating about it is that it's kind of, in a way, it's fascinating to look at it today and see how much it was able to do with actually very little, also from technical limitations back in the day. And so I think we kind of try and create this kind of world also with that kind of heritage, so to speak, that we have.
And my other